Hello students, in the last lecture we have seen one way to store and retrieve the data, that is files. In this lecture we are going to see the another method to store and retrieve the data, that is database. There are currently many existing database applications or database management system, which we generally call it, which functions on different platforms. Like for example, on the high end there is a DBMS called Oracle, generally considered as one of the best DBMS, but its price put it out of the running for all but the largest and the best financed applications. Since we cannot use the Oracle for each and every web application or any application because of its huge price. For Windows and Windows NT, we will often use, you might have heard the database name, that is Access, MS Access or MS SQL Server, both of which are fine but doesn't provide the cross-platform functionality, or these are not cross-platform compliant. Whereas for the basic needs, there is the open source SQLite, which is an excellent product. Here we will use MySQL as the example of DBMS. Although the MySQL, which is available for most of the platform, is not very powerful as the other database servers. It has enough speed and functionality for most purposes, and its price, the main factor to use the MySQL is its price. It is free for most users, make it the most common choice for the web development. So this is the main reason why MySQL will be using a MySQL database, because it is free for most of the users. So now see what is meant by database. So database is a collection of tables. We say the tabular data. It is nothing but the tabular data. And these tables are being made up of columns and rows that stores the information. These databases are created, updated, and read using the SQL, that is structured query language. The structured query language was designed to be written a lot like English language. Means the syntax of this language is just like a English sentences, but it does take some thought to create the more elaborative SQL statements, because only the handful terms are available to write the commands or statements. Now PHP, how this SQL is executed with the help of PHP. So the PHP will not execute the SQL statements. PHP is used to send these SQL statements to the database application, and in our term it is nothing but the MySQL database. Means PHP is used to send the SQL statements to the MySQL database where they are executed. The MySQL database will execute this SQL statement because PHP doesn't understand what is written in SQL. But the database will understand what this SQL means. So that is why the PHP is used to send these SQL statements to the database. And after execution, the result of the execution, whether it is a creation of a table or the insertion of a record or the retrieval of some records, or suppose even an error, is then written by the database to the PHP script. Means in our PHP script, whenever the SQL statement is encountered, PHP will send that SQL statement to the database, and the database will execute that SQL statement, whatever may be the operation, like creating a table, insertion of a record, or retrieval of certain data, or even an error. Then the database will return that result to our PHP script. Let us understand this with the help of an example. So, for example, suppose this is our plain PHP script which includes some SQL queries. We call the SQL statements as SQL query. So this PHP will send these SQL queries to the database application. Then this database application will execute those statements or those queries, and whatever may be the result of the execution, that will be sent back to the PHP. So this is how the SQL statements are executed. Now, how the PHP will send these queries to the database? So PHP's MySQL query function will be the most used function or the most used tool while dealing with the SQL. What it does, it sends the SQL statements to the MySQL database. So how to write it? Just like any other variable declaration. So we have declared one variable which will hold the result of this query execution named as a result, and we have assigned the SQL query to this variable, that is MySQL underscore query and in bracket SQL statement. Whenever the PHP encounters MySQL underscore query function, it will automatically send the SQL statement to the database, and whatever may be the result after the execution of SQL statements, the database will return it back to the PHP. The addition of SQL and MySQL to the web development process will complicate things, because sending the queries to the database and waiting for the results from the database is somewhat complicating procedure. So when the problem occurs, and undoubtedly they will occur, you need to know how to debug them, right? Because it creates the complication when we use the database in our development process. Then one thing is sure, that the problems will occur, right? But when the problem will occur, we will not be able to identify whether the problem has occurred because of the database or SQL query or because of our PHP script. So that is why we must know how to debug them. But while dealing with this MS SQL, the support for MySQL database server has to be built into the PHP in order to use the PHP's MySQL specific function. Suppose the PHP doesn't provide the MySQL support, then we will not be able to execute the SQL queries. In earlier versions of PHP, the support for MySQL was the part of the software by default. Means prior to the PHP 5, all the PHP versions have the support for this MySQL database. But as of PHP 5, there is no longer the case. Means from PHP version 5 onwards, there is no support for MySQL database. Means in the earlier version, MySQL was the only database that has to be used with PHP. But nowadays we can use any relational database management system, or what we call it as RDBMS. Any RDBMS can be used with PHP. So suppose we are using any version of PHP, and if we see the error like undefined function MySQL, something like this, then we must understand that there is the PHP version that we are using doesn't have the support for MySQL. This is the first thing we should remember. If we get the error when we write the MySQL query function, and if we get the error like undefined function MySQL, starting with MySQL, then we must understand that the PHP version that we are using doesn't have the support for MySQL database. So let us see the best way to debug the problems that occur is to execute the SQL commands using some another application. Right. Suppose some error occurs while we use the SQL queries in our PHP, then the first thing we have to do is to execute those SQL commands to using some another application. Means you have to use some database application. By doing so, we can see that if the problem is because of SQL or because of PHP. To do this, we have the two best tools available. The MySQL client, that is a command line tool for interacting with the MySQL database. It is shown in figure A in the next slide. Or the phpMyAdmin, a PHP based MySQL interface shown in the next slide. So this is the first, that is MySQL Monitor. It is a command line utility where we can execute our commands. Or phpMyAdmin, which is provided by the PHP if it has a support for MySQL database. Here we can execute our SQL queries in order to identify whether the SQL statement is causing the errors or PHP is causing the error. Now, while working with the text file, we have already seen that we have to first create the file pointer in order to open the file, and this pointer then acts as a reference point to that opened file. Similarly, we can have the similar process when working with the database. First, we have to establish a connection to the database server. Obviously, we are using a MySQL database, so we have to first establish a connection with the MySQL database, and this connection is then used as an access point for any future commands. Now the syntax for connecting to the database is, suppose we have created one variable that is dbc, and in that we are writing MySQL underscore connect. Now this MySQL underscore connect function will establish a connection with MySQL database by taking the three parameters, that is host name, username and password. The database connection is established using at least three arguments, the host, right? So in our case, we are using the PHP on our local machine, on our own computer, and that is why the host will be always the local host. The second one is the database username, and the third one is the password for that database username. Then after establishing the connection, once we are done working with the database, means once we have finished executing the SQL statements, it is considered a good practice to close the connection. Just like we close the file while working with the files, similarly we have to close the database connection, and we will close the database connection by using the MySQL underscore close function. Now we have seen how to establish a connection with the database. Now while working with the database, there can be some errors that arises, and some of the common errors that we will encounter are, first one is the failure to connect to MySQL database. Means there is something wrong with our connection string. Either the host name is misspelled, or the password is incorrect, or the username is incorrect, and because of that there is a failure to connect to MySQL database. Second type of common error is the failure to select the database. Means suppose we have selected the wrong database. Then third one is the inability to run the query. If PHP doesn't have the support for MySQL database, then we cannot execute the query. That is inability to run the query. Then there is a problem with the query that it will not return any result. No result being written by the query. Or some common error is like data is not being inserted into the table. Even though we have written the insert statement, data will not be inserted into the table. So these are somewhat the common errors that we will encounter while working with the database. Now, in order to minimize these database errors, there is no standard method. Experience will teach you why these errors normally occur and how to remove them. To have your script, but sometimes it happens that we will not be able to understand what that error means, right? What that error means, and because of that we will not be able to understand what exactly causing that error. So to have our scripts to give the informative reports about the errors that occurred, we will be using the MySQL_error function. Now this MySQL_error function converts the error code into its textual version. Means instead of saying that error 409, suppose it says that some variable is missing, then it would be much easier to understand. So this function returns the textual version of the error that that MySQL server returned. Along with this function, we may want to use some PHP tools for handling the errors. And what that tool name is? Specifically, it is a error suppression operator. So along with this MySQL error function, we use error suppression operator denoted by @ symbol. When used with the function name, it suppresses any error message or warning that function might invoke. Means whatever the error might occur, that error will be suppressed by this ampersand operator, which represents the error suppression. Here we will see how to suppress this error. In this lecture, we have seen what are the different databases available nowadays and what is meant by database, how to what is SQL, how to connect with the database, and what are the different types of errors that we get while interacting with the database.